Welcome to the third quarter, everybody.
What is this? What is going on right now?
I said, what the hell are you talking about?
What's my package look like? Yo! Welcome to the Third Quarter Warriors podcast. The Third Quarter Warriors are the best team ever, and we are the best podcast ever. Happy Monday, everybody. We're going to help you start your week off right because on today's episode, we dive into PBEV being one, traded to the Lakers, Donovan Mitchell being traded to the Cavs, and like all of the Cavs' future being traded to the Jazz. Chet ripped his foot, and the haters corner, and a bunch more. So we got a great episode for y'all. This is our fifth episode. We're recording it on September 3rd, 2022, and Patrick Beverley is officially a Laker. And how do you feel about the Lakers adding the general Patrick Beverley to their squad?
Overall, if they keep Russ, right? I don't want to make this about Russ because you know how much I hate Russ. But if they keep Russ on there, I just don't know where their shooting comes from. Defense, amazing, right? He'll guard their best perimeter guard, and he's more of an antics kind of guy, but their defense will be a lot better. I know AD will be back, a lot better defense. LeBron tries on defense, no matter how many people say he doesn't, he does. So their defense should be good. Also with Thomas Bryant, good defense. Offensively, could probably play a zone against the Lakers and stop them. And that's the only thing that troubles me is their shooting. Their leadership's still there, but it's just their shooting really that frustrates me. They haven't fixed that, and it seems like everybody on Twitter, everybody on Instagram, us, like just everybody knows they need shooters, and why just won't they trade for shooters?
I'm hearing that they might trade for Bucktooth Buddy still. Buddy Hield.
Heard that for the last year and a half, it feels like, and they haven't made any moves.
Yeah,
Buddy Hield's been in the mix for like, what, 2 or 3 years now for the Lakers? Like, they will not pull the trigger on that guy. And I don't get it, because he's a great shooter. Like, metrics-wise, Buddy Hield is like top 5 shooters of the past decade. Like, he's such a good three-point shooter. And Pat Bev is a deceptive three-point shooter because his numbers last year were pretty high. He shot like 38% from three, but I don't think it's real. I think it's because just people would leave him open and he'd make them. Yeah. Like, I think if he's actually one of the 2 shooters on the team, he doesn't make anything. So I think that this move, and didn't want to make it about Russ, but I'm going to make it about Russ. I think this move was to push Russ out because they have a beef. They've had this feud for years. I think the Lakers are like, all right, let's get Pat Bev in here and just try to get Russ as upset as possible so that he wants to leave. So that we can buy him out or something. Let's just get him out of here.
Yeah, I think that, they said that Pat Bev and Russ had talked, bro, and they said, they was cool. So that's one. But then, two, I feel like players that play with LeBron, and really just players that play on elite teams in general, if you're an average shooter, you either become a great shooter with LeBron or you become a terrible shooter with LeBron. Russ was never a great shooter, but he could shoot fine from mid-range. He could make shots, and now he's been exposed as a terrible shooter. I don't know which way Patrick Beverley's going to go. I could see him becoming a guy that knocks down shots, but I could also see him just becoming a guy when Russ came, everyone was excited, and now they're we hate him. So I could see Patrick Beverley being a guy that goes there, underperforms, and within the first month everyone says Patrick Beverley sucks again, which everyone kind of thought when the season ended that Patrick Beverley sucked in the first place. So I think we just need Patrick Beverley's mentality. We need his mentality and his leadership in terms of pissing the other team off and getting the Lakers riled up. That's good. But I don't think we need much of his skill set, honestly.
We're hoping that he becomes that Dellavedova type player, Yeah. 2016, 2015 Delly.
Yeah, that's if that's his ceiling, that's not good.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was what is a Dellavedova type player? What does he do, really?
Plays defense and makes open threes.
Okay. I thought Pat Bev actually fit pretty well on the Timberwolves. I think like him and Ant kind of weirdly synergized pretty well together. Like when I watched them play, I thought they were pretty good. And I think like his mentality helped Cat a lot because Cat is like that dude is soft. And honestly, I can't even blame Cat. That dude's been through a lot personally. Like every one of his family died like during COVID. So I
Yeah.
can't really blame him. But like he was soft. And I feel like Pat Bev helped him out a little bit. And I feel like Pat Bev kind of just like was someone ridiculous for Ant-Man to like almost like level out against a little
Yeah.
bit. So I feel like it kind of helped with like that team's development, but I don't know what he's going to do on the Lakers. I think like outside of just like a hype man, I don't know what he does. And like Russ was a hype man before he came to the Lakers, and after he got there, like the pressure gets to you. You're not a hype man if you're not good.
Like you have to be able to trade Russ for some type of shooter. Like there's got to be a team that's like, oh yeah, like we got this guy that can shoot well that we don't need, or like we have another one of the same type that, oh yeah, we could use like a guard that like can play every night that is experienced. He's got some use. He's just not fitting. He doesn't fit on the Lakers right now.
I
But like
think Russ
he's what?
yeah. No, get finish your
I
whatever.
was just saying, like, he's fit on a lot of teams. They haven't won championships, but like Western Conference Finals, like getting to the Western Conference Finals, getting the second round of the Western, like that's not like as the best player on the team, like that's a great accomplishment, and he's done that. And there's a lot of teams that I feel like have players that aren't gonna get there with their current roster. So like, trade them for Russ.
I just think it's the salary, man. That 40. He's making the second most amount of money in the league. I think.
Who are we blaming though?
They're not. We're blaming.
Whose fault is that?
I think it's the Thunders, right? Wasn't it the Thunders?
I think
It
the
wasn't
Rockets. I think it might be the Rockets.
Well, I mean, it's got to be the Lakers' fault for trading for that contract. Like you knew what you were getting into. So
yeah, but I'm just saying in general, like if you're looking to trade for Russ and you're going, oh, he makes too much money, I'm like, and I know that is an issue, but like, I don't even think that's Russ's fault though. Like if they're like, yeah, you can make 47 million this year, he's not going to be like, I'm not worth that.
Exactly.
Everyone takes that. Like,
Yeah.
who would not take that?
So I don't know why Ant hates Russ. That's all I'm saying. It's not his fault that he makes a bag. He
No,
should.
I respect Russ for
Should have
getting
never
that.
got the bag.
So, but then there's Harden. There's the James Hardenses of the world that took a pay cut, which like at the end of the day is good because like whatever they're gonna be able to do with that salary cap, obviously if it works out, then it's a good move. But like he's got so much money. Like, what did he? How much did he cut his salary by? Do you guys know?
I think he took like, I think he was gonna make like 40 something, and now he's in like the 30s. I think he dropped like 8 or 10 million, so it was like pretty significant.
Well,
Gave him, like,
Lil Baby just gifted him a quarter milli.
so that's why he did it. He's
Yeah,
like, I'm
Russ,
gonna get it back.
Russ won't. He doesn't care about the team. Like, why won't he take a pay cut? He
But
doesn't
like,
care about. Why won't
it's
you guys
bigger than that though. I mean, I know the optics are like, oh, you took a pay cut, but like, are they going to use that money to make your team better, or like, are you just taking a pay cut and then the Lakers are going to sign like freaking Wesley Matthews again?
Like honestly, after this last season, if I was Russ, I wouldn't take a pay cut either because like the fans don't like him, his team doesn't like him. Like they've been trying to trade him. It's like at this point, people are saying that if Russ gets traded, like he might be out of the league. They're just gonna buy him out and like because if you trade him to a tanking team, they don't want to win, so they're not gonna play Russ. And if you trade him to a good team, Russ doesn't want to come off the bench, and he's not like what point guard is he an upgrade from on a good team? Like I don't think there is one. So it's like it's not looking good for him outside of this year unless he decides to be a sixth man.
Yeah, I just think I respect Harden for taking the pay cut, but it's also just like a bigger decision than just like, oh, we took a pay cut and now we're gonna be good. Like he could take a pay cut and AD goes down like the second week and then they just don't even make the playoffs again, and then he's like, I took a pay cut for this. Like it's risky.
Joel gets his back gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, like it is a risk, and honestly, like I think the James Harden situation is a little bit like it's not as selfless as it seems because yeah, he took a pay cut this year, but he also got like another year or two on his contract. So he dropped like 8 mil, but he's
That's
now
Pick it
making
up
true.
like
like
70.
that.
Yeah, he's making like 70 over 2 years rather than 45 over one. And like if he
Mhm.
doesn't play well this year, he's not getting another max. Like I
That's
don't think
true.
anyone's gonna. So it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of what Chris Paul did with the Suns too. Like he did a similar thing with his player option.
Um, Overall, though, I like the Beverly trade. I don't think THT was doing anything for us. Like, I thought he was good at first, and then whether he wasn't playing it, getting enough playing time or getting put in the right situation, I don't know. He wasn't doing anything for us. It wasn't working. Same with
Yeah,
Stanley
agreed.
Johnson. I think he's a good player. I don't think it was working, though. So
Playing hard.
I'm excited to have like a new weird guy on the team, but I do hate him though. But like, we'll see. Did you guys know that in 2010? Patrick Beverly was on LeBron's team in the Heat, like as a very young, he might have been a rookie, a very young player, and LeBron like cut him. LeBron was like, "Nah, he sucks."
Really? I did not
Funny.
know
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it on TikTok. I think Patrick Beverly was doing an interview, and he said like LeBron cut him.
He said LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron.
Yes.
That's really funny.
But anyway, did you guys see this? I saw this game. It was Giannis versus Jokic in OT in like the World Cup qualifiers, and it was just Giannis and Jokic just going at each other because the rest of their team just are non-existent.
But
Yeah,
It was
I
pretty
saw
sick
some
highlights.
that. Yeah.
what did they
I
have?
like
They each had like 40 something, right?
Yeah. I didn't get their stats, but they both went crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool like to see the NBA players play in different leagues because it reminds us of how good they are. Like we know, but like a lot of casuals will be like, "Oh, like so and so sucks" because they like Ant will be like, "Russ sucks." If Russ goes in any other league in the whole world, he'll average 50, like easily.
Yeah, I agree because like we'll watch like you probably saw it on Instagram. Giannis, it was like Greece versus like I don't know Italy, and Giannis will have 30, 12, and 9 in 10 minutes. You're like, how the hell did he score that?
It's literally like you playing against middle schoolers. They're like, "Ant, go get a bucket," and you're like, "These guys suck. They don't know how to guard."
That it is like the US, well, not the US because these guys are both international, but the NBA is like such a tier above every other basketball league. It's crazy. And I saw something on Twitter like I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago. People were talking about how Luca said like foreign leagues are harder or whatever. And I was like, that is not like
Wasn't that a ball sack?
oh, maybe I remember there was one time when Lucas said that
Oh,
scoring overseas is harder, but he was talking about the rules. Like
oh,
you can't like they don't give you as many steps. Like there's certain things you just can't do in other leagues. So that's what he was talking about. Like
okay.
it is much easier to be good in other leagues as an NBA player. Like Talon Horton Tucker is probably a 25 and 10 guy overseas. Like
Yeah. And obviously, all those guys' dreams were always playing the NBA. Well, most of them, except for like people like Steven Adams, who was like, "Oh, I suck at basketball. I'm just gonna quit. I'll just go to the draft." And then he gets picked like 14th, and he's like, "Oh, okay." Um, but yeah, guys like wait, I don't even remember what I was just saying, but obviously we need to get like a league, I think, like the Live Tour of golf, but just for the NBA. That's just like off season. There's like 6 teams, and it's just like they pretty much you pick the top 6 players in the NBA, and they just draft their own players that want to play, and then it's just like a 6 team like tournament for like 2 weeks, and the winner gets like $100 million. I think that would be sick.
I think
Like
we're actually not that far from that, especially with like all the players playing in these pro-ams and like the whatever that I think it was Jamal Crawford's league where
Yeah,
like
Jay Crossover.
yeah, Jay crossed over that league. And like so many pro players are just playing in these random like kind of semi-pro like leagues. I feel like we're not that far from that. But
Yeah.
I also feel like the NBA collective bargaining agreement's coming up soon and I feel like after this after God, I forget what's the guy that was just drafted. The really the guy that tore his ligament.
Chetty,
Chet
Chet,
Holmgren.
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot his name. But after Chet's injury, I feel like they're going to be like, we got to limit these guys playing games in the offseason because,
I can see
like,
that.
it's not. I feel like this collective bargaining agreement is going to be scary for the NBA.
Yeah. I think they could. The only way they could do this league is if it was somehow related to the NBA. It's like the NBA controlled it, but then like if you sign up to play, obviously you could win like 100 million if your team win. I think it would be cool to see these guys play for bread because they've never really. They play for bread in terms of like a new contract, but like literally, if you win this game, you get this much money. I think that would be crazy because dudes act different when there's money on the line. But I think if they worked with the NBA and they're like, if you do play in this league and you get hurt, you don't get paid from your NBA contract until you come back. So there could be like situations like that. Huh?
I don't know if I like
Well, I
that.
think they're gonna start doing that anyway. Like if you don't play,
Yeah.
and so, but they're saying if you're gonna go and play extra basketball outside of the 76ers organization, if you get hurt, we're not like paying you for that. You're allowed to do it, but if you do get hurt playing non 76ers ball, then like that's on you.
They already have that in like NFL contracts, and they don't have it in. I don't think they have it in really any NBA contracts, but yeah, that's in a lot of NFL contracts, and I think baseball players have that too.
I mean, that almost makes sense to me. It wouldn't make sense to me if you were just like playing pickup in the off season and they did that. But like if you were actively going after to make more money in a different league and got hurt, I think it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And these are going to be like this league I'm building is going to be the superstars. So it's not like they're going to be like, oh, I can't afford a surgery or I can't like afford to not get paid. Like they're already bagged up, you know.
Yeah.
This is a little bit late because this topic was actually for last week, but the KD hate continues. He demanded to have Steve Nash as his coach. Then he decided he wouldn't play if Nash was his coach. Then he decided, okay, I'll stay. So, in conclusion, KD is pretty much like a girlfriend who just always jumps to conclusions and changes his mind all the time. That's what KD is like. He's like, I want this. And then they're like, okay, we'll do that. He's like, I don't like it. I want this. And they're like, okay, we'll do this. And he's like, never mind. I don't want that. And I was like, okay, Kevin. Like, just, do you want to stay here?
He is not a leader. Like, he can't, like, none of his decisions have worked. Like, other than joining the Warriors, which was like they probably would have won a championship or two without him, honestly. Like, other than that, none of his decisions have worked out. Like, that guy is not good at making decisions. He's not good at being a leader.
I feel like transcendent superstars aren't supposed to act like regular people, and he just acts like an immature regular person. Like like LeBron, Giannis, all these people like will act just differently, and KD's like, nah, bro, like, and he just straight up tweets what he's thinking and like set, which I know maybe is cool, but I don't think it's good for organizations and like having him on your team.
Do you guys think he's immature?
Yeah.
Or do you?
Yes, 100%. Like, I think KD is like, he's just not, he has no professionalism. Like, he just doesn't hold, like, he doesn't know what not to say.
Yeah.
He just says whatever he wants. And it's like, it just is kind of embarrassing when you're looking at it from the outside, because I'm sure other like big name players have had these types of conversations where they're like, I want to leave, but it doesn't like leave the
leak out. He's not gonna like tell the press.
Yeah.
But
Seems
like
like
KD, like if KD does anything, he's gonna let everyone know that he's doing this. Like, he was like, me or Steve Nash, and they were like, nah, and he was like, fine, all right.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like, imagine you're an employer and you convince, and this person's like, I won't come on unless you give me like 30 days of paid leave, and they're like, all right, here you go. And then he's like, you know what, I don't even want no paid leave. And they're like, okay. And then he's like, never mind, you know what, I want it back. And they're like, okay, what are you doing? Like, that's literally KD. He just can't make up his mind. He's like, is there a better situation I could maybe get in an easier championship? Oh no, this is like the best one for now. All right, I'll stay here then. Like, that's literally what he did, I think.
It really is. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like it's like secondhand embarrassment. I just look at him like, man, this guy has no pull. Like he
Yeah.
has no riz. He has
He
no
had no
riz.
leverage. Dude, he just signed a 4-year contract.
Zero
He's gonna
riz.
Yeah. 0 risk. Yeah, you're gonna have to play out the contract. In 1 year. Okay.
Brian, on
But
a scale
no.
of 1 to 10, how disappointed are you that Chet ripped his foot?
I was so excited to see the Slim Towers in action. Like I wanted to see the Chet Poku lineup so bad. I was hoping that they like signed Bull and gave him a couple reps in there too. Like I was so hype. But, you know, overall, I honestly think that this, weirdly enough, is better for the Thunder and also for Chet's career.
Bro, they're so happy.
Yeah, like I know that foot injuries they can linger for a long time, but if Chet can recover from this and like not have long-term issues with his foot, this is probably better for him because that guy, like with how small he is, how skinny he is, he cannot be an interior defender yet. Like he needs to put on like 25, maybe even 40 pounds before he can be like actually just he's like 190 pounds. Like this guy weighs nothing. He needs to be like at least 220 to even stop someone from like posting him up. Like if Giannis just puts his back to Chet, dude's like on the ground.
Like,
he can't
bro,
do anything.
Jokic is listed as 6'11", 284.
Like imagine Chet trying to stop Jokic or like Zion. Dude, he's gonna like if he tries, he's getting injured. If he doesn't try, like what kind of anchor is that? Like he can't be an interior defender at 190
Bro,
pounds. So
he has 100 pounds on Chet. Oh my god.
And Chet's like 3 inches taller than Jokic too. It's
100 pounds.
He needs to spend the entire offseason. And the thing is, I don't know if he's gonna like eat like how they tell him he needs to eat.
I mean, I think he might never like. I don't think he's ever gonna be muscular. I think he's like KD. Like he can get stronger, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna cap out at like 215, bro. Like his weight.
I feel like he can. I feel like because he's so tall, he's like actually 7'2" or whatever. I feel like he can probably get to like 225, 230, but I don't think he can get to
He
like
might be too slow. I think his game might like mess up.
If he can add muscle though, it's not really gonna slow him down. It's probably gonna help him because he's gonna be able to move his ligaments.
Yeah, like I mean, he's like 7'2". So if you're 230 at 7'2", that's still so skinny. Like Kevin Durant is like 220 and he's 6'10", 6.
I think he's 235 or something.
And like if he's actually 235 and he's 6'10", what's his name? Chet.
40.
I don't believe that. If LeBron, like that's not.
Brian is a huge height and weight truther.
Like if LeBron's 260, there is no way KD's 240.
No,
No way.
It says LeBron is 6'9", 250. Giannis is 6'11", 243.
Yeah, there's no way KD is 3 pounds lighter than Giannis. That's
Brian,
just...
you know why? It's because KD is 7'3", bro.
Because he's 6'10". That's how I know he's lying.
Giannis is taller than KD. Giannis is 6. What is Giannis? 6'11"? Is Giannis? I don't know how tall Giannis is, but he's taller than KD. Like there's no way. Giannis has to be at least 20 pounds heavier than KD. There's no way that they're only 3 pounds different.
No way Giannis 260, bro. No way.
Yeah, KD's
muscular though.
I feel like KD's got to be like 225, 230. But like what I'm saying is if KD's actually 240, which he isn't, but even if he's 230, like if if Chet gets to 230, like he's not gonna be like bulky. He's still gonna be skinny. He's just not gonna be a skeleton like he is right now.
Like I don't know why he wouldn't just go all in the weight room during this offseason. It's like when I do like online training, and so sometimes I'll talk to girls that message me and ask about it, and they'll be like, I just don't want to get like bulky, like look manly. I'm like, bro, do you know how hard it is for a female to look manly after the gym? Like, you have to spend like 5 years of like dedicated dieting and lifting to look bulky like a man. Like, because women like just have different hormones than men, so like unless you just have the genetics for it, like you're never gonna look bulky. Like you have to actually very much so try. And I feel like Chet just like isn't gonna do that, honestly. Like I just think he's not gonna get in the either that or he's gonna like be afraid like, oh, I'm gonna lose a step if I add weight. Like, nah, bro, you're gonna gain a step because you're gonna have muscles to accelerate with.
I also think a lot of like shooters are kind of afraid to get like really in the gym because
A
they're. I
lot
mean,
of
I've heard,
and,
huh?
I'm agreeing with you. A lot of kids, like even in like Vegas and stuff like that, like, oh, if I lift, it's gonna mess with my shot. Like, bro, it's really not. It's
Like
not. It's
Yeah,
you're
really.
not that strong. It's
and like
you haven't reached
shooting.
the level that it's like gonna mess with your shot.
Yeah, and like you're not really like I understand like using a lot of muscles when you're shooting, but it's like it's mostly wrist and momentum. It's not like you're not like
Yeah, you're not doing a chest press.
yeah.
Um, moving on from Chet, hope he recovers well. And how excited are you for Carmelo Anthony's 4-part docu-series called Seven that's coming out?
I have some mixed feelings. Just Carmelo Anthony was my favorite player for a long, long time. And then when he went to the Thunder, he decided to just stop caring about the game of basketball. Well, kind of like his last couple years in New York. I am excited. Um, I heard this. I can't remember what broadcaster it was. I think it was Skip Bayless. He was talking about how LeBron, ever since he started playing basketball, he's always kept his body in shape. Right, the guy spends millions and millions of dollars. Carmelo Anthony is waiting now until his 15th, 16th year to stay in shape. His body, you see how lean he is. Like he looks like he used to look when he was in Denver. And so like that year where he just I want to say like maybe his last year in Denver and then from then on to like Portland, he was like thick. He was a thick boy. And so I feel like that that series is going to be really like fun for me to watch as a fan, but it's also going to be like damn, like I didn't even look at it like that. He just never took care of his body and maybe he'd be a different player. We may have looked at him in a different light if he had been very consistent with his diet and things like that like throughout his career. He might have been like better. He could have been a better player, I think.
I don't like actually know anything about what Melo did diet wise, but do you think that he like was okay with putting on weight because he wanted to turn into more of like a post up player as he got older, or do you think he became more of a post up player as he got older because he gained weight? Like which one do you
I
think came
The
first?
latter. I think he was a post up player when he was in Denver before he had all that weight on him. But he had kind of lost a step when he got to New York and started shooting a lot more threes. He was still a post up powerhouse, of course, but he wasn't as quick. He had like this weird like stutter step that was kind of like him falling over a little bit. Like he didn't
Yeah.
really have Dude, he didn't really have moves on the perimeter. And so it was just to kind of get into his shot and just he was just posting up really. And so yeah, I think it was the latter that he just kind of like I don't want to say he lost himself because he wasn't like out of shape, but he just was a slower player and I think that was a detriment to his career, I think. At least to where it would have went cuz there were times where he was like top maybe he was never a top 5 player in the NBA, but he was always compared to LeBron, same draft class, and it was like, man, he could have been up there. He could have been up there.
So he's not your favorite player anymore. Is he your most favorited player though? Like when your peak
Yes.
of liking
Yeah.
him, is that like the most you've liked a player?
Yeah, he is besides the Detroit Pistons, he's the reason I like basketball. Just
The
watching him
Detroit
play.
Pistons.
Yeah. I was
Can
born in
you
Michigan.
can we elaborate?
I was born in Michigan and I watched them growing up
How long did
because
you
my
live
father
there?
till 2008 and I started watching Kobe, the
Oh, so
Lakers.
you saw Legoat body the Pistons then.
Probably the top 2 game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Watched it live
Me too.
on my living floor with my dad. I'm like,
Yeah, I remember I lived in Belmont then. It was me, my brother, my dad, and Brian, PD. He was there too. And I don't know why he was there, but it was lit. Um Yeah, that docuseries will be fun though. To watch whenever it comes. I feel like it's gonna be like a couple years still. But another thing, NBA news, kind of sad, but I guess positive too. Vanessa Bryant won her lawsuit against the LA County, and she getting paid 16 million because they like those photos that like they released of Kobe and Gigi's like corpses, and I guess the other families involved too. Like they released those photos, and everyone at first like that is kind of messed up that they did that, and then a couple like 2 years later, 3 years later, she got. I'm glad she won the lawsuit. I think she should have gotten even more for that because that's just like, why do you do that? But anyway, shout out Vanessa Bryant doing her thing still. She's doing a lot of stuff with the Kobe brand too, like working with Nike to keep doing stuff to like keep that legacy, and then also, keep her family. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure she won a lot of money for the other family too. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure a lot.
Yeah. I have one yeet culture that I want to talk about. This is where I effectively cancel a person or a thing because of one single thing that happened. So we all know about like old dudes in gym locker rooms that just don't care about like showing their thing, and that's fine. Like, you're old and you get naked. I mean, I get naked in the locker room if I shower there. I don't shower at my gym anymore, but I used to. And like, you change clothes. It's fine. It's whatever. We're all guys. But I'm walking through like just to go to the bathroom, and I notice this old dude is like he's completely naked, and he's got an electric razor like zzz, and he's like shaving his chest like by the lockers, not like in the shower. So like the hair's going on the ground, and I'm like, that's disgusting. And just butt naked. And so I walk past him, pee or whatever, walk back through, and he's shaving his butt, and I'm like, that's disgusting too. That's more disgusting. And so I'm like, God, like, I don't even like why do people do that? And I walk back in. Like I pee a lot when I'm at the gym because I drink like creatine right before I go, then I drink my pre-workout, and then I'm drinking water. So I pee like every 30 freaking minutes when I'm at the gym. I walk back in, he's just sitting on a bench, just butt naked, just completely naked. And then when I'm walking back out, I pass him again, and he's just straight up shaving his balls, like his pubes, in the middle of the gym locker room. And I'm like, there's not a rule against it, but there should be. Like that's public nudity. I feel like it's not public, but it's something, bro. Like you can't shave your pubes in front of people. There's a rule. They need to put that on the wall. And go ahead.
I mean, I think shaving your butt is way worse. Like was he like spreading and just like
he was like shaving like his butt cheeks were hairy.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't he didn't go in on the whole. I mean, maybe he did. I wasn't gonna like watch.
What's the point? You gotta go all the way.
Okay, Ant. But what's even worse is like, so there's always a sign, like there's females that clean the men's bathroom, and they don't ever like shut down the locker room for it. Like it's just a lady, like the way they clean the bathroom also is really weird. She literally uses a hose, just like sprays puts soap everywhere and just sprays everything. Like that's how she cleans our bathroom. I'm like, okay, at least I know it's getting done. And it was weird to me at first. It probably is weird. It's not weird to me anymore just because she's literally in there at like 3 p.m. every day when I go. But like the fact that she's probably having to see that stuff too, and like there's a sign that says like warning, or not warning, but like just letting you know there's a female cleaner in here right now, and this dude's just out here just shaving everything that's ever existed. And that guy just pissed me off, and I want to say something, but I'm not going to be the guy to say something, and it's just I don't feel comfortable going to the desk and be like, yo, like there's a 90-year-old dude like shaving his ball sack. Could you guys like, I just don't have the confidence to say that to anyone. So except for a podcast. So that guy's my yeet culture this week.
I wonder if they could even do anything about that. Like
it would become a whole thing. They're like, sir, leave, and he's like, make me, and they're like, no.
All right.
Like he's shaving his butt in the gym locker room. Can we kick him out?
I'm like, bro, if you're not going to kick him out, you have to stand here and watch him as your punishment for not kicking him out. But that's my yeet culture. And do you have anything for a Nuketown 24/7? Have you been making any bets lately? I know sports are like actual sports are about to start back up. College football came back.
I honestly don't bet more. Just I don't know. Don't
Oh,
I don't have that urge, but obviously I work there. So I have two plays for everybody. I have the Bills and the Rams over. That's the first game of the season. Over 52. And then I have the Patriots and Dolphins over 45 and a half.
Patriots and
Both,
Dolphins.
Really over 40.
yeah, over 45 and a half. I like these both because, well, the Bills, it's the first game of the season, right? It's not like you've had all this time for film and preparation on what they're currently going to do. You have to kind of go over what they've done last year. And I think everybody's going to come out firing. I think, first like I said, first game of the season, those jitters. I feel like there's going to be some points on the board. As far as the Patriots and Dolphins game, I can't remember who the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins is, but usually his defense is really good. But first game of the season, like I said, um, so yeah, I have those two over. Both of those are over.
Frank Smith.
Frank
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah,
Don't.
usually
That's
their
the
defense
most
is
normal name I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's like I was like, ooh, who?
Did you guys hear? I don't. Did we talk about this last episode? I don't think we did. And did you hear that Brady should have gone to the Raiders? Like he was
yeah,
about to
I
go to the
saw that.
Raiders.
Him and Gronk, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you hate Gruden now? Because you guys would have probably won a Super Bowl.
I
That's
heard
Gruden.
Gruden's.
He's trying to
Gruden's
come
trying to-
back.
Yeah, dude, he's trying to come back to the NFL. He's like, I'm sorry. I saw it on the Score app, and it was like, yeah, he was just trying to apologize. I didn't mean any of this. Like, I want to get back to the game. I'm like, we'll probably get you another chance somewhere. Maybe
Sounds
Jacksonville.
like Kyrie apologizing to LeBron, saying, "Oh, maybe if I had stayed, like maybe we could have won more championships." Like, yeah, and it's hard, isn't it, Kyrie? It's hard to win championships, huh? Anyway,
It is. It's hard.
don't get me started on that. Like, bro, think how much easier LeBron's track to like winning more rings would have been if Kyrie just wasn't an idiot for like that 1 year where he decided he should go to the Celtics. Like, bro, LeBron and Kyrie would have still been on the same team and just.
Do you think if Kyrie stays, right? Let's say they never butt heads. Do you think LeBron stays there for another 4 or 5 years, or do you think he leaves still?
Bro, I think he probably would have stayed there. It would have depended how the season's going, obviously, and a lot of things can change based on what happens in the season. But like, bro, Kevin Love's literally still playing there. Like, Kevin Love was gonna stay, well, maybe not, but like Kevin Love's making like 40 million or something. He's so happy. He came out last year, maybe 2 years ago, and was like, I want to retire a Cavalier. I'm like, yeah, because they're literally paying you more money than you've ever made in your whole career for the past like 3 years. You love it here.
I think I think LeBron obviously would have played out the rest of his contract in Cleveland, but I think he would have left eventually because I don't think it's just because of LeBron. I think he also left to go to LA because of his kids. I think his kids probably wanted to be in LA because like Bronny and Bright, like Bronny specifically he's like all over social media. He loves that stuff, and being in LA with that stuff helps a lot. I mean, regardless, he's LeBron James' son, so he would have been fine. But like getting to like be around all of the other like
Okay.
social media people, I think that's one of the reasons LeBron left.
Well,
personally.
if Kyrie wasn't being like a little stuck-up prima donna and saying he wants his own team, and he was okay and like loved playing with LeBron, then LeBron could have just worked it out that their contracts just expire on the same year, and then they both just go sign with the Lake Show. That would have been fire.
Yeah, they could have done.
I don't know. LA Kyrie might be a little weird though, because he's already weird and he's just in New York, bro. If he was in LA, he would be off the craziest kush just every day. I feel like after practice, just Suited.
And the thing is, people in LA would hype him up. Like everything he does, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Kyrie." I've never heard anyone say it like that. In New York, they're probably like, "What the hell
Bro,
are you?"
he would start dressing like a Rasta like his first month there. I feel like I could totally see him like doing that.
Yeah,
Retting out his dreads all the way down here.
Can we talk about Jimmy's dreads again? I saw someone bring it back up, and someone was like, "Jimmy wears his dreads like they're his," or something.
like that guy,
bro, and then had dreads.
like
His butt. How is that possible?
like that dude, he got the most obvious. The thing is, he didn't even hide it. Like he got extensions, and like he was just like, "Yeah, I got them," and like most people do. Like Uzi, he cut his hair, and then in like 3 months, he had like cornrows and everything again. Like all these guys, they do get extensions, but Jimmy's were just like he had like the red tips and everything. They were like it wasn't even like the same texture as his hair. It was just weird.
Think he's gonna play an NBA game in it? Over under a half a game. He plays with those dreads.
Bro, I could see this could be good odds. Him playing with them, it like falling out like in the play, and him just cutting them off at halftime, just cutting his dreads, or just taking it out and coming out with like just a normal length of hair. I could see him doing something like that, bro. I get Jimmy is more sane and normal, but I get like AB vibes from him. Like he would do something wild and not care how people perceive it.
Did you all? He used to have some show. Did guys ever hear about that show yet? He had like some travel show where he would just like do random stuff. He would just like go to different places and like he had one where he was in like a canoe and he just got like stuck upside down.
Was this like Chicago time?
Yeah,
that makes sense. Nothing to do in Chicago, other than like shoot people.
Yeah, there's so much murder. Scary place out.
If you're from Chicago and you're listening to this pod, obviously don't come for me. I was joking. Anyway, it's time to move on to everyone's favorite segment, the Haters Corner. This segment is VVS's time to do what he does best: expose people, things, and places and give them their well-deserved hate. VVS, who should we hate this week?
So I am excited this week because I was going to do Kevin Durant last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, whenever all that news came out about him. But now I have someone new who I've been waiting, and it's Thomas Brady. Because this guy is the worst. First of all of his Super Bowls are irrelevant because they were cheating the entire time. And I think people don't talk about that enough. People need to take away his Super Bowls like they took Reggie Bush's Heisman, because that guy was straight up cheating for like 3 of his Super Bowls. And now in training camp, Tom Brady just left for like 10 or 15 days or something like that. And like, honestly, being a 45-year-old quarterback and not going to training camp, it's kind of whatever. Like Brett Favre didn't go to training camp his last like 3 years of his career. It's not that abnormal for like high profile guys to skip some portion of training camp. But Tom Brady started attending and then left. He didn't say, "I'm just not going to show up." He was like, "Oh, I got a personal matter to attend to." And then he comes back and everyone notices he got obvious plastic surgery. He left to get plastic surgery on his face. Like,
it has to be Botox, right? If it was plastic surgery, he would have like scars and stuff.
He could have got like it was probably like some injections and stuff.
Yeah,
he could have got like a minor procedure or something. Like he didn't get a. I don't.
He looks so different.
Yeah, he looks like significantly different. Like if you took his draft day picture and his current picture side by side, it's a different person. He also has a kind of weird looking hairstyle. I don't think it looks good on him. But like he came back and has like plastic surgery, obvious plastic surgery or injections or Botox or whatever. And you're like, okay, did you leave to get plastic surgery? But there are also rumors that Tom Brady actually left because he's going to be a contestant on The Masked Singer.
I heard that too.
He left training camp to go be on a game show and get plastic surgery. And even on top of that, just to hate on Tom Brady as a person. The reason he retired 2 years ago, he said because he wanted to spend more time with his family. And then he unretires And then he comes back another year after that. This guy said, you know what? I want to spend time with my family. His wife, Giselle, of supermodel and also super rich with like a bunch of stuff. She was like, come home, be with the family. You got some kids now. You kiss them on the mouth. You can do that more often.
Oh,
Like, and then he was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And he was like, actually, nah, F my family. I'll go back to the league for another 2 years. I think, like, Tom Brady, this dude's 45 years old. He's probably, it's inevitable that he gets hurt. It's sad to say. Like, I don't want anyone to get injured. Even though I'm a Tom Brady hater, I don't want him to get injured. But, like, this dude's 45 years old. He's playing quarterback. I know the refs, like, love Tom Brady. They'll call anything for him, but eventually he's going to get hit one way and it's not going to be good for him. Like it happened to Drew Brees. It's going to happen to Tom Brady eventually. And I feel like this is the last year.
yeah. I almost respect him though for retiring and then unretiring because I'm just thinking about what actually took place. So he's like, I want to spend more time with my family. Like I love being around my family. But think about it, the past 20 years or whatever, he's been like studying and playing football for like 12 hours a day literally. So then he's home with them for like literally just 2 weeks and doesn't have like, oh, okay, I'm kind of annoyed of Giselle, but like in a month like preseason starts, it's like, no, this is my life now. And like when you hang out with a friend for like a week straight and you're like, okay, I kind of want to get away, I'm kind of tired of being around this person, and then you go home and you guys are fine later. But he realized that he's never gonna get free time away from his family, and this is his life now. And he's like, you know what, this sucks. I'm gonna play football until I'm 50. I'm gonna play football until my sons go to college.
Like that dude must just not. He's gotta hate his at home life. That's the only explanation. Like you have done everything. You are the most decorated NFL player in all of history. You've made so much money, and even after he retires, he could do literally anything. He could be a sports broadcaster. He could be a news broadcaster. He could probably run for president if he wanted and get elected realistically. Like he could do literally anything. And he's like, nope, I'm going back. I'm gonna go play football again.
He has didn't he signed a something with Fox News, or not Fox News, Fox Sports, where he's gonna be like whoever's there right now just isn't gonna be there whenever Brady decides to retire. Like one of the guys just is gonna get cut. I'm like, that's so funny.
It's like we don't know when we're gonna cut you, but once this happens, like I don't know.
I think it's Olsen. I think Olsen's there right now, Greg Olsen, because he came on Pardon My Take, and they were like talking to him about it, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, it's kind of understood that when Brady comes back, like no one's job's safe. Like someone's getting booted. It's probably Greg Olsen."
R.I.P.
But yeah, Brady sucks. I agree with that. With that haters corner, 100%. He's just a bad person. America hates him for a reason.
And Peyton Manning's better than Tom Brady. I feel like no one else agrees with this, but Peyton Manning is a better player than Tom Brady. Better all time. Peyton Manning is the best quarterback in NFL history.
I will tell you this, because a lot of the times we can't even because I agree with that, but a lot of the times we can't even convince people that they're equal, that they're like that it's even close. But Bruce Arians came on Pardon My Take recently, who coached both of them, Peyton and Brady, and he couldn't say who was better at anything. Everything, he was like, they're equal. So whether he's being politically correct or he really believes it, like what probably happened is he was probably like, Peyton is way better than Brady at everything, but I just don't want to say it because I'm still on. He's like the ambassador to the assistant of like offense or something. Like pretty much he's saying like, oh yeah, just show up to practice sometimes, Bruce, and like give us some input, but you're not going to be on the field on Sundays. Like that's his job. But yeah, Peyton's better than Brady. I agree.
It's close, but Brady's better because he has more Super Bowls. Correct? Can we just say that? Why can't you guys see?
So Bill Russell's the GOAT?
I think especially in football, like the amount of Super Bowls you have is not indicative of how good of a player you are. Like Tom Brady for his Super Bowls, he had a top 10 defense in every Super Bowl that he's won. Like I think there was one where he didn't have a top 10 defense. In Peyton Manning's entire career, he had a top 10 defense, I think twice, and he won Super Bowls both years. Like it's just not. You can't like they don't play defense.
Game for sure.
like there's just an entire half of the game that quarterbacks don't play. And
Yeah.
like I understand quarterbacks are the most impactful player on football fields, but like you can only do so much. Like you're
Like,
not running back, you can't catch the passes, you can't run after that. Like you're just one player out of 22 players on the field at a time. Like I feel like individual accomplishments are much more valuable in football than certain other sports. Like I think in basketball, like you control more of your team, so I understand why championships are weighted more heavily. But in football, like if you get more than one, like you might be the GOAT.
yeah, I just think that Peyton Manning, like, if he had any type of defense, like you're saying, then he would have just as many rings as Brady. But the fact that Brady had the defense, he has more. And everyone's like, oh, the rings. But like, in my opinion, we're talking about who's the best football player, who's the best football player. And bro, I'm saying like freaking Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are like just as good as Tom Brady has ever been at playing football.
Oh, they're better. They're way more talented
So
than
like,
him.
what are we talking about?
I
I-
don't know. Accomplishments.
Yeah.
That's when you have to throw accomplishments in there because like Patrick Mahomes is more talented than I think like I say this all the time. I think Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback ever. That does not mean he's better than Peyton
Ayahuasca.
Manning.
Next episode, we'll have to talk about his ayahuasca trip. But yeah, go ahead.
I don't know what that is. Is that somebody said on
That's
the podcast?
that's where he went like into the deep jungles in South America and like drank this. It's pretty much liquid DMT, so you drink it orally, and
Oh.
it's like DMT, and you trip for like 15 minutes, and he like sees life completely different now. He's talked on it in a couple podcasts.
Oh, okay. I
I
didn't
did
know.
listen to the Rogan one and it was okay.
But
It
I
was
do
more
agree. I think Aaron
crazy.
Rodgers is the best, like in terms of just throwing, Aaron Rodgers is the best thrower I've ever seen. Like he makes some throws that I don't even understand like how. And it's just it's not even like other quarterbacks will like wind up. It's just like he'll see something that's just
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
what's
like
different
wait,
about Aaron is he doesn't like Tom Brady like throws a lot with his feet. Like he's got to set his feet and he almost like pushes the ball to get places. Rodgers literally will just be like he could be facing a different direction and just be like flick and it's like
yeah,
zip to the numbers.
he'll like roll out across his body and just throw it like 60 yards in the air. Like guys in stride just catches it like with a
And it's
defender
not
draped all over him.
like
You're like, what?
But not as good as Peyton though. He's not as good as Peyton though.
I think Peyton is
oh,
like
he's
a
not better
better.
than Peyton.
It's Peyton, Aaron, and then Joe Montana, and then Tom.
All right. And it's
Yes, I
and then-
Kobe
agree.
Brissett.
I can't.
Heineke. If Heineke is the best NFL player of all time, if you need to touch the pylon to score, if that's the only way you can score, Taylor Heineke is the best player.
Agreed. Because I have no stats to fight against it.
Bro, think about how few of touchdowns he has, but how many of them are him diving for the pylon.
He gives effort. Like I respect Heideke's effort. Like he's not that good, but
I
he
hate
gives
that.
all he has.
That's my least favorite, and that's what our coach used to always say about me. John can't jump over a piece of paper, but he's gonna try to box out the guy. I'm like, bro, you didn't have to say I sucked. You could have just said I give effort.
Backhanded compliment.
I know he sucks. He's terrible, but at least he gets good grades. I'm like, bro, what? Thank you. Okay, that's all I got this week though. You guys got anything else? I was pulling up sideline sources to see if I missed anything. Shout out Serena Williams. She lost,
yeah.
but she wore diamonds in her hair, so that was really cool.
Serena Williams is the goat of tennis. Well, women's tennis. Women's.
I think
tennis,
she's tennis goat.
really. I don't know.
She wouldn't beat men, but like
Yeah,
she's like tennis
I don't
goat
know.
though.
I don't know.
No, she wouldn't, bro.
It's like
You know, yeah. You know this.
Well, like just like she could beat a Curious? Nah, bro, she couldn't get his serve back. His serve is way too big.
like there's a like tennis speed. They measure the speed of tennis serves, and Serena Williams, if they like put her in the men's tennis bracket, she would be like 100th fastest server.
Yeah, like she could beat some men, but like she hits the ball really hard, yeah, but like a lot of it is your recovery speed, and like guys are just faster and more athletic than females, and so that would get to her. Like it would be really hard for her to beat like most male tennis players. But
I feel like she could probably be like top 50 male tennis players, right?
Nah, bro.
No,
those guys
really?
are so good at tennis. To get top 50, they're so good.
I don't watch tennis. I'm just throwing out numbers. I was
Nah, bro. There's a huge drop off from like top like 25. Like those guys are gonna beat pretty much everyone that they play. Like it'd be an upset, obviously, but like they're still insanely good at like yeah, like I don't know. In her prime, like she could probably beat maybe a couple of the top 100 men, but I don't know. There's not that many like tennis players that like you can't just make it like because you had a good route to get there. Like NBA, like oh, he had a really good college career, so he got drafted. Like to be a top 100 in tennis, you have to win tournaments after tournaments after tournaments, and then you play in a big tournament and now you're ranked. It's not like oh, you had a good like college career and then didn't make it in the pros type thing. Like you have to be pretty much like proven to make it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good to know.
Tennis, basketball, and football today. So good job, guys. That was good.
Yeah, we got football starting next.
Multifaceted over here.
Yeah, next week.
There'll be like 2 pro football games that have been played before our next podcast, I think, right? Or maybe 1.
Thursday.
Is there Saturday? No, Saturday games are while college is going on. So just 1. But yeah, NFL's back. And I'm an NFL guy. I love the NFL. So.
I need to schedule our draft. I still haven't done that, so I'll do that today.
Cool. Oh yeah, we'll be able to talk about our draft too.
Yeah.
Yes.
People love hearing about fantasy drafts, right? Like that's so interesting.
They do. I don't know. They love that.
Yeah, that'll really increase our female audience too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Ant, you like after this we'll close, but Ant, you like hearing it? I hate hearing people are like, oh yeah, I drafted this person and it was a steal. I got him in the 3rd round, and I'm like, I don't care, bro. Like your fake football team that doesn't exist
doesn't mean anything. I know. I felt bad because Baker put his thing in. I'm like, I don't know the backstory.
Yeah, it's no. Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense.
I'm so glad you love your team, brother.
Out of context, someone's team, especially if they're not in your league, it just doesn't mean anything. I'm like, that's just a list of players.
Yeah, Casey was showing me his team, and he's in like a 12-team league. I was looking, I was like, nice, like
12 teams. See, like then you start getting guys who are on the practice squad. I'm like, you lost me after your first
when you have a 12-team league, you got to start drafting handcuffs, bro. Do you know what those are?
Yeah.
A handcuff is like you draft Derrick Henry and his backup.
Mm-hmm.
So if Derrick Henry gets hurt, you have like the next best thing because they have a good running game in general. Like, or if you draft or you do it for receivers too. Like you draft the best receiver and the second best receiver, but probably won't play the second one unless the first one gets hurt. But like, because you have guys that you're never gonna play on that are on your team, so you might as well not try to go for like a mid, not very good player, and just go for a backup that isn't playing but could give you good production if someone goes out. But I don't know. I suck at fantasy, so don't listen to me.
I sucked.
But anyway, thank you all for watching and listening. The Third Quarter Warriors are the best team ever, and we are the best podcast ever. New episodes every Monday, pretty much. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We're gonna keep the content coming, and be easy. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Welcome to the 3rd quarter, everybody.
What is this? What is going on right now?
I said, what the hell are you talking about?
What's my package look like? Yo!